Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Metroid Prime 2 Randomizer Tournament. We got uh, basically the semifinals of the winners side of the brackets going on today. We got erinexplosives versus Dyceron. Certainly going to be an explosive match. We're gonna have a lot of real high level play, so be sure to be sure to keep your eyes peeled. There's going to be a lot of action going on at all times. So just regular standard tournament settings today. Nothing too fancy. And they'll be getting started just momentarily. Uh, I want to know from chat, like, what do y'all think is going to be the kind of seed we're going to have today? We're going to have a quick one. We're going to have a slow one. I know Aaron earlier uh, was doing a practice run and having a pretty quick one. And we're off. Going to be starting as per usual in the main energy controller. And, of course, starting off with the Violet Translator, it's going to be one of the two items. Dark Aegon Temple Key hints right away. It's going to be very useful. Well, it's nice to have. Actually, we don't really know if it's useful yet. So, yeah, we got the standard power beam fight with charge beam is a pretty nice fight. There is an option in the randomizer to turn off charge beam and have that shuffled into the pool. You do need charge beam in order to fire super missiles, but charge beam itself isn't usually useful. There are a few instances where normal beam won't do the job, but uh, it definitely makes quick work here in the Alpha Splinter fight. So you notice every once in a while they'll just stand still and tank the hits. This actually allows them to quickly fire another charge beam. It looks like Dyceron's doing that more so than Aaron, but whenever you recoil from damage, uh, you're kind of immune from recoiling for a while. Ooh, main power bombs is nice. And Aaron doing a quick little scan dash to get to the door a bit faster because she already opened the gate. And a missile tank in the ceiling. They're not going to be going back for that anytime soon, if at all. Power bombs are very interesting. It's going to allow them to go to GFMC and return. This is likely going to be at least Aaron's play, probably Diceron's as well. I know Aaron is a big proponent of looking for regular bombs before entering Aegon, because typically they're found pretty early on. So uh, you're basically handicapping yourself if you're not getting them early. And you see Echo Visor and Temple Assembly side. That's interesting, but we don't really know what that says about the logic. It's placed so early, so it might just very well be that it's just randomly placed and not necessarily placed via progression. Because it unlocks so many late game items, but very, very few, well, basically no early game items. It's it can very frequently be a red herring, as it were. So Dyceron showing off a piece of standable terrain, as well as Aaron to get the communication area item. This is in beginner logic, so this is completely available. So what are we gonna have here in the JFMC crate? This slope jump is really finicky for a lot of people. Just a Sky Temple key that's not really worth duping. In this case, it's the Sky Temple keys in the randomizer are unique. There were considerations for making it progressive Sky Temple keys, so that you could duplicate Sky Temple keys if you had the opportunity, but there's currently, as it stands, that's not the case. You only get one Sky Temple Key 7. It can sometimes be an issue in multi-world, where if you get two of the same key, if somebody else dupes your key, you might not technically count as having it or something. It's something that's really weird. Usually with menu mod you could fix it, but in single players, it just you can dupe it for free and nothing happens. So Dyceron is actually going all the way to Temple Transport A, Transport A access to get an item up there that is available with the power bombs. There's a rubble in the way that most people think you need power bombs for. You could also open it with bombs, boost ball, or surprisingly super missiles. Aaron is skipping that for now and just going straight for storage chamber A, something storage A. An emerald. Oh wow, emerald translator right here under the save station. Hopefully Aaron comes back for this eventually, but that's. Oh, storage cavern B. My apologies. A is the one with the flying in cache hint. Speaking of flying in cache hints, we got a hint for what looked like a missile related upgrade in Accursed Lake. It seems to hardly have anything lately. And Seeker Launcher here in the elevator room. That's usually the first intended progression item, or second intended progression item after Violet, I suppose. And Dyceron is really going for this Echo Visor. So this Temple Assembly site jump, we call it task only because it's in the Temple Assembly site. And it's only really an issue in this room. It's just every piece of geometry in the game is unique. And this one requires a very, very good, nearly perfect, if not perfect, slope jump. And eventually he does get that. Some people think the slope jump is faster, but it's kind of iffy. Sometimes the harder extended dash that Aaron tends to go for, in that case, may actually be more reliable. So Dyceron realizing they have forgotten the storage cavern B item, and he's going to need to go back for that later. It is just a light beam take. It's not going to hurt him, but that's unfortunate. So Seeker Launchers and the Missile Launcher are sort of different items. The Missile Launcher allows you to fire missiles, but in the tournament settings, and I believe the most popular setting people play with, you don't need the main missile launcher to fire missiles. If you get an expansion, as in the vanilla game, if you get an expansion, it's good enough. You could just fire them whenever. But with the Seeker launcher, it allows you to shoot 5 missiles in a volley to open Seeker targets. But the main importance of the main missile launcher is that it's one of the 2 items that allow the randomizer to know that you can fire missiles. Because it places important items first, and then once everything is placed, then it places the expansions. It doesn't really consider how many missiles you have in your inventory unless it places the main missile launcher or Seeker launcher. So those missile expansions that Aaron used to get Storage Cavern B, wound up getting them an out of logic light beam tank or light beam expansion, but it was out of logic nonetheless. So it could influence your routing quite a bit. Well, maybe not so much in tournament settings, but maybe in like random start settings. A boost ball is a good find on Bomb Guardian. This will probably be a pretty fast seed. Given that boost ball in general just speeds up your movement immensely. I want to say like 4 times as fast as rolling. I think like 4 times as fast as walking, at least. But you can't quite boost everywhere, but you can boost almost everywhere. Yeah, without bombs, they can't go to Dark Aegon quite yet. So Dyceron's gonna want to use his power bomb on the gate close to the entrance until he realizes it's boost ball here. No, he's just Well, he's getting kind of lucky that that this is in fact boost ball. This would be a problem if he didn't get boost ball here, because with the gate closed and with no space jump, no regular bombs, being out of power bombs, I believe there would be no way out otherwise, because I don't think the Wasp Lair triggers until getting the energy controller item. Luckily, he does get his boost ball and he's free to leave. But he's opting for... This is an odd play. He's opting for ventilation area A. Without bombs, the only reason to come here... Okay. Just realizes. Maybe he wanted to reload the room. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe just a reload works? No, just momentary lapse. Thought he had bombs. Yeah, that was retroactively scary for him. I'm sure he is retroactively scared. But he made it through. He's good to go. Meanwhile, space jump on DMT. If I read that correctly. That's a really good find. What does that open up? What does that open up? Well, labs is available, yeah, with light beam. That's interesting. Yeah, I didn't I didn't want to say it, but dark beam could absolutely be vanilla and could be the next required item to get out. Certainly, well, looks like that's what Aaron's going to be doing. Oh, they could go the front of labs. That's right. Right. Space jump. Yeah, space jump definitely lets you through front of labs. Gonna be saving first. Might as well. Are they feeling saucy enough to actually go through the back of labs first? That is the question. I'm I'm not sure there's a way through the back of Sand. That's a Sky Temple key in Mining Plaza. Okay. So that first hint for Aegon keys may very well come into play here. So Dyceron recently had a seed where he actually fought a Morbus, got the item, and left via out of bounds without the keys. So that's gonna be an interesting prospect. I highly doubt they're gonna skip keys, but it's possible. It would be a pretty fringe case where the last Aegon key is just nowhere to be found. Uh, well, somewhere to be found much later, but really out of the way. Aaron trying to skip a cutscene that hasn't started yet. It unfortunately doesn't save time. But getting a nice power bomb drop. It's kind of a lucky drop. She already had one. Could opt to use it here. Gonna just stick with the good old-fashioned missiles. May just want to conserve power bombs. If you have to... Yeah, I kind of like to say, whenever you have 0 power bombs, you have 1 power bomb. Just because the drop system in Echoes will have an 80% chance of giving you power bombs if you're completely out, assuming you have capacity. Similarly, for missiles, ammo, and health, when you're low, it tends to give you those. Like missiles are an infamous case where you actually need a maximum of at least 10 missiles in order to receive an 80% chance of double missile drops. Even if you like set the expansions to give you 1 and you have up to 9 max, it won't give you the double missile drops until you have a max of 10. Dark Beam acquired here in front of Vagon. This is very good. Dyceron opting for Hall of Honor dead check. This is pretty heads up play. You're right next to Hype Chamber A anyway. Not going for the hint in Meeting Grounds. That's interesting. I know Dyceron doesn't put much stock in that. He says Meeting Grounds and Path of Eyes are 2 of the worst Violet hints. Like, Violet hints are, in general, not too worth it for him. But they've saved quite a few runners in the past, and we have Screw Attack here in the front of Aegon Waste. With Light Beam and Dark Beam, this is completely accessible. And with no energy tanks and Varia suit, it is still technically possible. And in logic even. But these runners absolutely know what they're doing. It's much scarier looking than it actually is to them. So this is a strat in Battleground I like to do where you just lay a power bomb that I think I first saw Gullop doing this. You lay a power bomb at the feet of the first 2 Warrior Ing, and they just die immediately to power bombs. And from there, then you could just light the beacons. I like to stand in which beacon is left? Whatever one Aaron has her back to right now. I like to stand in that one, and the Warrior Ing will typically try to space kind of away from you, but the spaces that are available are consumed by the light beacon, the energized beacons, and they just kind of seppuku automatically. Even without Annihilator, they'll just walk right into it. Aaron getting that much needed power bomb drop with under 20% HP. Good drop system. And opting for another powerbomb expansion. That's interesting. This does force her to wait in the safe zone for 5 seconds. You don't have to wait in the safe zone. A lot of people opt to stand right outside the door and constantly take damage for 5 seconds instead. I don't recommend that approach, but it's an option. And intentionally waiting to energize that beacon to put herself at 19 HP to get an 80% gold drop. Very smart. And Dyceron on his way to get his Dark Beam. He's likely going to Storage B afterwards. We'll see. Another option is, well, in addition to the Dark World, there's the Dark Samus room, but that's kind of at the exit of the Dark World that you already have full access to anyway. As we see, Aaron's doing the fight right now. Yep. Dyceron is indeed going for Storage D. The Storage B. Storage D, after Dark Samus, just has a missile expansion. But more importantly, it has a reload trigger for the main reactor to allow you to peek this item and get the hint for Dark Oasis. Energy transfer module. There we go. Dyceron weighing his options and realizing he kinda doesn't have many, and just opts to go right into the portal. And this, I would say, is the correct play. It's definitely, Screw Attack is worthwhile. Amber Translator, he's gonna find out, is really worthwhile. Not only does Amber get you an item and the hints in Aegon Waste, but it also unlocks one of the paths into Torvus. Doing a Screw Attack into the safe zone. The Screw Attack, when you don't have Dark Suit, the Screw Attack actually decreases the atmospheric damage as well. When you have Dark Suit, you take 1.2 damage per second. In Varia Suit, you take 6 damage per second, so it reduces it 5-fold. But the Screw Attack, it's almost as good. It reduces it 3-fold, down to 2 energy or 2 damage per second, which is still considerably more safe than just walking through Dark Aether. It also nullifies the Inkclaw vapor damage. So if you want to go from Battlegrounds to Warrior's Walk, you might as well Screw Attack through into the doorframe, and you probably don't want to jump just in case you hit the doorframe, but you just like land in the doorframe, and you can just stumble through without taking nearly as much vapor damage as you normally would. I missed one of the hints. I guess bombs are in temple grounds. That's good to know. Or is that a morph wall system? Morph wall system in temple grounds? Right. So currently, as mentioned in chat, there are instances of single room out of bounds in higher difficulties of logic. These tournament settings definitely don't cover any out of bounds whatsoever, but they are allowed in, like, for the players to use as they so desire. When it comes to transitioning to other rooms from out of bounds, that's not covered in the logic currently. And it's frankly going to be quite a while because that would require a total overhaul of the logic. It's it's gonna it's gonna greatly increase the amount of nodes in every room. So that's not currently in consideration. Basically, the way the randomizer decides if the game is completable is by kind of drawing a line between points in the map. Basically, like, you go in here in Central Mining Station, for example, you come from the light beam door, and you get to the spot next to the barrier, and you can scan the body through that. If you have the pirate layer defeated, you can go through the tunnel to access the item, and then from there you can roll back through to get next to the gate, and then you can get to the door below from there. And then from that door you could get to the other side of the door. And basically that's a big part of the reason why out of bounds is so tricky, is that you can skip so many nodes, but uh, you have to be able to navigate out of bounds, and the requirements are just, like, so dramatically different. You don't have to necessarily open doors. Sometimes you have to hit loading triggers. Sometimes you can just force the room to load by shooting it and going near it. But there are so many advanced mechanics to out of bounds that it's just not going to be implemented anytime soon. In the meantime, we got Dark Visor here and Plane of Dark Warship. Although I don't think there was much of interest in the Battleground in cache, if I remember right. I do loves me some late bomb seeds, though. This is pretty great. I suppose they could be Wind Chamber Gateway. That's pretty likely. That looks to be where Erin is on her way to. Oh, I don't know why, but for some reason I thought Erin was just trying to meme by activating the satellite dish for no reason. But no, she was actually just locking on so she could scan dash off of it to get to the door faster. This is pretty smart. Imagine doing things for reasons other than memes. It may make one shake their SMH. I also missed where Dark Suit was, but yeah, the racers are taking considerably less Dark World damage now, and that's nice. Dyceron, however, is very low on energy, but there are crates all over the place. Poof, a golden drop. Now he's full. When you're under 20% health, you're basically at full health. So, yep, Wind Chamber Gateway with the bombs. So Aaron is likely going to be getting their emerald right away. And with that amber, she can go to Torvis. That's the likely next play, I believe. Defeating Jump Guardian is required for this item to appear. Yeah, it's pretty uncommon to defeat Jump Guardian without bombs or super missiles. Those are the main ways to get into Judgment Pit. And unfortunately, Dyceron doesn't have Dark Burst. That would be another way in. But unfortunately for Dyceron, Dark Burst isn't here either. It's just old boring bombs. Now he gets to shake his SMH. So for those who don't know, the special beam combos for each beam, except for super missiles, the Sunburst, the Sonic Boom, and the Dark Burst all have the ability to activate bomb slots because echoes. The main caveat to that is that you actually have to be morphed in the slot for it to count. A suit can be found in Sand Cache. I guess that's where the Dark Suit was, huh? So Dyceron's going to do a trick where he just pokes his head through the ceiling and he could actually see what that is. I can't because it's a tiny screen. What can I do? What can I say? But he now knows what that is. I think that's probably just a missile expansion. It's never anything. But he's opting for Sank Entrance. That's interesting. It feels like a gamble to me. It may just be he's been extra thorough. But a lot of players will just skip Sank Entrance just because it takes so long. The better you are at the game, the faster everything is. Sank Entrance included, but that means that the rest of the stuff is just so much faster as well. Having a bit of trouble. Usually when you freeze something with Dark Burst and shoot it with a missile, it'll just shatter instantly and die. But sometimes, depending on the way... yeah, well, sometimes it just doesn't want to work. I don't know. I guess the hitbox for shattering an object might be like partially inside the object. Yeah. Well, so those little orb things can do quite a bit of damage. And unfortunately, they did quite a bit of damage to the Dyceron. He saved in... he saved without Dark Suit, without Dark Beam. Yeah, he's got to do the whole second Aegon trip. But he's already through the first Aegon trip, at least. Was that Cobalt was, I believe, exactly 3 rooms from Phazon's site. Is that correct? Phazon's site is Dark Egg. Oh, Phazon Pit. 1 room from Phazon Pit. I was way off. Yeah, I just read names. Oh, 1 room from Phazon Pit is either Phazon Grounds or Profane Path. Phazon. Actually, Phazon Pit. I was mistaken. I believe I commentated before and I said Phazon Pit and was Phazon site or whatever. I got them reversed. Phazon Pit is in Dark Temple Grounds. Phazon site is in Aegon Wastes. Right? Well, either way, the hint specifies what area it's in as well. So if I had read that, maybe I would have known for sure. But I'm like 90% sure Phazon Pit is in Dark Temple Grounds. Watch me be wrong again. So Aaron showing off some game knowledge. This little barrier that you have to normally have to bomb can actually also be destroyed with screw attack. Unfortunately, you kind of have to hit it from like in the tunnel opening, which is a bit finicky to get into, but opts to just stand on top of the ledge and bomb it. All right. Anyway, what I'm suspecting Dyceron might go for. No, that doesn't make sense either. I was gonna say Sanctuary play because Torvis is generally like 80% of the time your next play, your next progression is going to be in Torvis, and quite a bit of it as well as a bunch of Sky Temple keys. But every once in a while, Sanctuary will have important stuff instead. So it could be an option to to go out of bounds to get to Sanctuary from the side, but it might not be a very good option without bombs. Like you can do it. You can even get the Hall of Combat Mastery item without bombs with Boost Ball. He knows how to do it, but it's definitely not recommended. It's just like how behind does Dyceron feel from that death? I'm sure it probably passed through his mind, but still. And finally, for this first time, we're seeing a Jump Guardian fight from Aaron. 38 minutes in. That's not very common. Good fight. For those unaware, the Jump Guardian is still vulnerable before the fight, before the cutscene, which would make him visible. So you can just shoot the invisible Jump Guardian in its starting location and take it down to very little health. Unfortunately, you can't take it down to 0. You can't even take it down to 1 hit because Echoes, you have to take it down to 0 HP and then shoot it again to kill it. I think that's a similar case with other bosses. Like for Boost Guardian, it has to be low HP, and then it has to be standing up when you shoot it for the last hit. Or when you hit it, however. Power bombs will deal an additional hit when it stands up as well. And we get a nice Sky Temple key finally. Well, we have one already. I forget where that was. I feel like we saw it somewhere. Oh, GFMC, right. Kind of the point of the game is to get all the Sky Temple keys and access to the final boss. So I wonder what... I do wonder if Dyceron is going to opt once again for a sync entrance. I was thinking that was kind of a bold, thorough play. Like, it's not necessarily a play everyone does, so it could potentially give him a huge advantage. But does he go for it again? I... Yeah, without Spider, I suppose it's not in logic. I believe getting to the upper ledges without Spider Ball is in intermediate standable terrain. But just for the fact that hardly anyone goes to sync entrance, it may lead them to just double down on it. And if there's nothing there, that would just be tragic. Okay. Dyceron is opting to bypass it for now. That's the unfortunate thing about playing from behind is like if you're not feeling confident enough for risky plays, then it's hard to get yourself an advantage. He probably would have gone for it again if he had Spider Ball, but he knows very well it's not in logic. He just wanted it out of the way. He just thought he can afford the check. And it's not necessarily unlikely to have something. Like, it could have a Sky Temple key, for all we know. But he's gonna go back to Aegon. I believe he's gonna be getting his hint about Cobalt Translator in Mining Station B. the hint is in mining station B, rather, not Cobalt, but that might influence his decision making. Knowing where Cobalt is might lead him to. Well, even then, I don't know if he's gonna want to play for hints. One room away from Phazon Pit, and we have a missile tank. It looks like it's in Profane Path today. Interesting. Dyceron is going... Oh, right. This is Mining Station B. Yeah, this is not interesting. That's what we expected. I thought it was... I was thinking about going into Torvis from this side. And I was like, that it kind of doesn't make sense to go in from the side because you have access from the front and you were in Temple Grounds. But that's not what's happening. That's good. Yep, Sky Temple Grounds, Phazon Pit. One room away from that. So it is indeed in Profane Path. I'm pretty surprised Erin didn't come here before when she was going for GFMC. Wait. Right, when she went to GFMC the second time to get bombs in Wind Chamber Gateway. Yeah, those wiggles telling the story. Erin now has access and is not too pleased with her decision to go back into Aegon again. Though it did get her a Sky Temple key. In fact, she had access to... Well, with that translator, it would have given her access to Underground Tunnel, but alas, she has to put it off until now. Charge combo in Battleground. Go back. Go forward. So go forward, go to Torvis, take the elevator to Aegon, then go through Battleground. Go to Battleground from there. And... Oh, wait. What orb is this? Dyceron? Did they get a hint about Spider Ball somewhere? Oh, right. You can kind of tell from the markings on the side of the ball. That must have been a cannonball then. Because the Spider Ball and the Boost Ball have slightly different models. The Spider Ball is a bit smaller. And I believe has dots on the side. Whereas the Boost Ball model has, I guess, is it stripes? I'm not too clear. Like, I haven't specifically looked myself. Erin over here is going out of bounds to check Sky Temple key hints right away because she can. I said early on that this that the play for hints. Oh, interesting. Opting for taking a look at the flying ink cache as well. No, I'm looking at the wrong room. Okay. Seeing the item in War Ritual Grounds for later use. kind of wonder, is it worth... No, it's not. So Erin has been playing around with the Sky Temple grounds out of bounds quite a bit, and she used to have trouble crashing the game here in Gateway Access, or whatever this room is called. So she just goes back in bounds right there, and returns the keys, gets hints, and leaves, and then screw attacks out of bounds later. Meditation Vista. Sack Chamber. Transit Tunnel South. She's not a fan of that room. Under Temple Access. Mining Plaza, we knew. Bioenergy production, interesting. And Sentinel's Path. Okay. So Echo is going to be needed, as well as Annihilator Beam. Sentinel's Path is the Echo puzzle off the side of the Sanctuary Temple, going to Watch Station. So we're going to need all 3 Aegon keys. We knew that already. We're going to need Annihilator. We may not necessarily need super missiles, but we know where they are, so we're going to get them. We can. We're going to have to fight Grapple Guardian, but we don't necessarily need Gravity Boost. Transit Tunnel South hard requires gravity. Well, in these logic settings, Transit Tunnel South does require Gravity Boost. There is a single room out of bounds you could do instead. Although, I don't know if you can necessarily get inbound, so I don't know if that's in logic, come to think of it. So, we know Erin's done out of bounds. Oh, no Dyceron. Oh, wow. Yeah, I had my notes just covering Dyceron's health bar. So I thought he was at 0 HP because I forgot he picked up an A tank. Never mind. No, he's totally fine. Dyceron is no stranger to out of bounds. He knows when you should be getting when you should recover health. And he's just going straight for a Morbus. Taking a minute to load the room. So, as I was saying before, he knows how to do this. And he knows how to get out. Personally, I don't really understand the jump to get out. It's just very, very tight, it seems. But he's pretty confident. It's part of the any percent route now, as well as the 100% route. And he is no stranger to the speedruns. Well, not necessarily in Dark Aegon Temple, but in Aegon Temple. It's just that they share the same geometry. Basically, a lot of the dark rooms, almost all of the dark rooms, are copy and pasted, have copy and pasted assets from the light world. That's kind of the hey, look, a Prime 1 health drop. That's kind of the gimmick of Prime 2. So Aaron does have the hint for where the Aegon keys are. That was the very first hint they got in main energy controller from vanilla uh, violator or violator. Oh, that's awful. Violet translator. That is not how you combine the two words. That is not the portmanteau you were looking for. Dyceron is on his way to return the energy, and we're gonna see that famous out of bounds. So it's a really weird out of bounds that I guess was kind of known about, but people didn't really bother doing it because there was already the Sand Digger out of bounds, and that seemed relatively fast. But here, Dyceron is gonna do this BSJ onto the top of this pole. In the light world, you just do a slope jump, and it's actually pretty fast. But here, you have to do a bomb space jump, and it's kind of wonky to get the camera working for you. Personally, yeah, I was kind of getting the camera outside of the pole and just kind of unmorphing and I hide behind it. And now you jump onto this ledge here. It makes it look easy. Yeah, that's... I feel like that's a very tight jump. Maybe I just don't understand it, but yeah, he knows what he's doing clearly. Now he's back in bounds as if nothing happened. There's another variation of this where you unlock the door and you get the temple energy and you just skip a Morbus by jumping over that pole and then jumping over it on the way back, and you just skip the fight trigger entirely. So that's going to be huge for Dyceron. This may very well make this a close race. Yeah, doing that before Jump Guardian. It's true. Now there are multiple Jump Guardians. Yay! Which one's the real McCoy? Hey, look, a Aegon key. Now he could, he's 1/3 of the way to fighting a Morbus to get that Mining Plaza key. That was awesome. I hadn't considered that either. I do wonder if, I think Dyceron was planning to do that in the first place. And I don't think that was necessarily a gamble based on the death. I think that was just something he was going to do anyway. We'll have to ask him in the interview. Supers were in Battleground in the Flying Ink cache. Two important items, Amber Translator and Super Missiles. Thus far, Amber Translator has been required for a Dark Suit in Sand Cache, but it's also gotten us a lot of hints, including the... Actually, no, it was a different hint that told us about Battleground, wasn't it? I think so. In any case, yeah, now Aaron has supers. So they basically need Annihilator for Go mode. They both know of a way to get the uh, the item in Sentinel's path by using some out of bounds shenanigans, of course, as well as load delay, where you just constantly pause and unpause the game while walking towards a position to delay the loading of the room. And it's pretty awful. And on Nintendo, loads tend to be faster, so they may not necessarily have an easy time actually getting there. It's if I remember right, it's kind of hard on vanilla anyway. Dyceron getting his super missiles. So we just need pretty much one lucky hint on where Annihilator is going to be. That's not the red temple key we're looking for, game, please. Underground tunnel. Inghive key 2 is barely progression. Progressive suit is in Dynamo Works. That's interesting. That is required logically. So add that to your list. Add that to your tally, Captain. Spider Guardian is logically required today, but no one's gonna be getting that suit. Uh, there is the very, very slim chance. No, there isn't. I was gonna say it could be Sank Map Station with Annihilator, but that's impossible because Annihilator locks Cobalt in Profane Path. Aaron doing an excellent job of avoiding the hitbox for that Sky Temple key. And screw attacking right over it. Hitting it the second time. So that's 2 temple keys for Dyceron, 3 for Aaron. Soon to be 3 for Dyceron as well. Oh, it's 4 for Aaron. Okay. Oh, I assume Aaron got the bioenergy production one. Okay, so it is actually 4 for Aaron. Yeah, that makes sense. That's GFMC Transport Center, Bioenergy Production, and now Meditation Vista for Aaron. Yeah, currently it's 2 for Dyceron, because he got the Transport Center one just now, and he's on his way to his 3rd. Oh, Spider Ball was sand processing. That's a good wisdom. But I don't think. Well, Diceron's definitely gonna want to get that. Hopefully, he won't miss it. Luckily, thankfully, Diceron isn't going to need it for any of the Sky Temple keys. But it's left to be seen if he's going to need it for uh, Annihilator. Yeah, although Dyceron does technically know how to fight Emperor Ink 2 without Spider Ball, he definitely doesn't want to. It's just slow. Not really sure how slow. I suspect maybe close to 10 minutes for Dyceron. Maybe less than that. I don't know, but it's pretty bad. Especially when you're looking for Annihilator. You're probably going to find Spider Ball along the way. Unfortunately, we have Dyceron going to Torvis, uh, presumably without Spider Ball. Unless he picked it up and we missed it. I don't remember. Boost Ball was so early on, but they didn't have bombs. Although there is a Sky Temple key in bioenergy production. So it's likely he's probably going to get Spider Ball on the way there, or shortly after. It's a pretty quick check when you're on your way to the safe station anyway. Just go like one room further. So you may be noticing oftentimes the runners will be jumping in the door frames as they morph, and you won't really, you might not notice them jump, but you'll notice them immediately morphing and then falling to the ground. Basically, if you bump your head while you're trying to morph, the game will just immediately take you into third person, and it's similar with the instant unmorph where you block the camera. You can block the camera the other way as well and get an instant morph, and that allows you to get uh, immediate morphball speed, like morphball acceleration, because you move more slowly when you're walking than you do when you're rolling. And during that animation, you're considered walking or standing if you're just standing. So we're just on the hunt for Annihilator. Uh, Not too much to say here. Well, Sanctuary could very well have Annihilator, but Torvis has so many hints, and they both have Emerald, that Torvis is just a really good play. Not only is there probably Annihilator in Torvis, because there's usually uh, progress in Torvis in the first place. Gravity Boost in Hazing Cliff. I missed that on Aaron's end. Huh. That's interesting. Anyways, not only is there probably Annihilator in Torvis, but there's also 6 hints in Torvis. 3 in Upper Torvis and 3 in Lower Torvis. And Aaron is on her way to Lower Torvis hints now. Ing Hive Key here in Hydrodynamo Station. Oh, Aaron gets the air underwater and unfortunately gets a little too close to the ledge, and uh, the camera goes up above the surface again. There we go. That was almost too close again. You want your back. You want plenty of space behind you when you morph there. I know some people prefer. Uh, oh, there we go. That's. Did it say aerial training site? I saw the word training. I thought I saw the word site afterwards, but I I don't recall if there was a red word before that. Aerial training site. Okay. Yeah. That should be go mode. Yeah, Aaron is going immediately to training chamber to get to sanctuary. It's gonna be in go mode very soon. Probably gonna get um probably gonna get gravity boost before returning to lower Torvus. There is the option to go to Gathering Hall to get the Transit Tunnel South item right now, kind of slowly, but I think it's just so much better to just go get Gravity Boost and Annihilator instead. So we don't necessarily know that that's go mode. Yeah, that's true. Erin does need one more Aegon key, but she has the hint from main energy controller. I'm not entirely sure where that last Aegon key is. There was one in Dark Aegon on Jump Guardian. There was one in Torvus, I think. Maybe. I think there's one in Dark Torvus, isn't there? Oh, it was just Torvus and Dark Aegon? There is a chance. There's a chance that uh, there's a chance that the last Dark Aegon one, that the last Aegon key is in Dark Aegon in Feeding Pit. That would require either that would require either some terrible out of bounds shenanigans that I doubt she's gonna go. What, Aaron? Aaron suddenly wants to fight Caretaker Drone. Hmm. Aaron doesn't want to fight Caretaker Drone. So, I believe she saved in Upper Torvus. I don't think she saved in Lower Torvus. I don't know for sure. It did say Torvus Bog. Okay. It was Lower Torvus. Okay, that's very good. So that's not as bad as it could have been. She's just gonna have to rescan this post and then just Seeker launch her way into Sanctuary. Uh, you might as well get Hazingcliff, peek the item in Dynamo Works, and then get Annihilator, and then come back to Lower Torvus. I think she wants to just get Annihilator and immediately come back to Transit Tunnel South. Yeah, safety saves are pretty important in this game. Like, So Dyceron's showing off an advanced seekerless seeker lock with screw attack. He only had 4 missiles, so he had to do it this way. I personally struggle with that. I can hardly ever get it myself, but I can get other ones like transport center just fine. Whereas Dyceron struggles with those ones too. So it seems to be pretty subjective how difficult those are. In any case, they're not in tournament logic. He's just able to do them if he wants. DCR, I believe, has... Yeah, DCR checked Sky Temple key hints already. Oh, that was kind of funny. DCR actually landed on the ledge and then walked off, and it was able to screw attack from there. Uh-oh. Oh, okay, that pod stayed there. So a funny quirk about the screw attack is because it's based on where you space jump last, and not necessarily like how high you've been. You can just sometimes walk off ledges and initiate screw attack if you're as high as your last space jump. Every once in a while, when you instant unmorph here, it just turns you around. He does get this 4th or 5th try. It's not so bad. He's been extra thorough here in Dark Torvus. This is pretty unfortunate because we know the last hint for Annihilator Beam is in Lower Torvus, and Aaron now has Annihilator. Dyceron is unfortunately kind of wasting time here. The only thing Dyceron could potentially find is, well, an Aegon key would be really good. I mean, in a way, defensively. It's not like they're affecting each other's gameplay at all, but it would be really good for Dyceron if he found an Aegon key in Torvus, because we don't know if Aaron's going to be finding that. But I think she did already find everything in upper... Already did check everything in upper Torvus. But the other thing he could find is Grapple Beam. And that's it. So I'm not entirely sure. I don't think Dyceron has Spider Ball. Aaron has it. Dyceron might be looking for it still. So Dyceron is looking for Spider Ball and Annihilator. That's interesting. Dyceron is kind of dipping low to hit the Terminal Fall trigger before hitting the Sky Temple key. I didn't know the fall was that low. Or that high, rather. That actually saved him a few seconds over just falling afterwards. Light suit in the tunnel, so Aaron's going to be getting that, and light suit locked feeding pit is not going to be an issue. But the key is probably an in-cache too, let's face it. So while Erin is ahead on major items, and she's effectively in go mode now, she doesn't strictly know where the last Aegon key is, but she has it narrowed down considerably, and she now has all the items that could possibly be required to get it once she gets this instant morph into the tunnel. So for this instant morph, this is really tricky. You kind of have to, you want to move like up to like very close to that far wall, and then you want to jump backwards and morph. Otherwise, you don't quite get enough backwards momentum to get in there. A lot of times, you'll get the instant morph and hit the lip of the tunnel, and then just stop in place. What's Dyceron looking for? He just saw, okay, movement system in. Oh, that's. Oh no. So movement system here is going to be grapple beam because we know gravity boost is in Hazencliff. This isn't what Dyceron's coming for. He's still looking for Spider Ball. Oh, well, no, he's also fighting a Grapple Guardian for a Sky Temple key. Actually, this doesn't cost him. This is fine. But this Dynamo Works is costing Aaron quite a bit. So although Aaron is in item go mode, basically, is in go mode, effectively, she has a significant item advantage over Dyceron. However, Dyceron has already defeated Amorbis and gotten the Mining Plaza Sky Temple key. So that's a pretty considerable lead as well, or a pretty considerable advantage as well. Right. There's also a key in Under Temple access. I don't see him doing Under Temple. Light suit acquired for Aaron. Yeah, it's a very tough instant morph. A lot of people prefer the screw attack method. It's really hard to say which one is more difficult, which one is easier. I think they're both under the same difficulty and logic. It all depends on which one you practiced effectively. Because the screw attack method, while you may have an easier time getting into the tunnel, it's really finicky whether or not you actually stay in the tunnel. You kind of have to screw at an angle into the tunnel to kind of stay on like the sides of the tunnel, because they slope up because it's a round tunnel. It's a pipe. And there's the Sky Temple key for Aaron. She's already lost a bunch of time in Dynamo Works. It looks like she's confident enough to get Transit Tunnel South. She's done it twice before in the tournament. Is this wise? Maybe not. Maybe not necessarily. But it could definitely pay off. It could save time. Absolutely. But another question is, where is that last Aegon key? She knows where Gravity Boost is, surely. She's passed through Path of Eyes. Did she read the hint? She may have gone through the portal in Path of Eyes and bypassed the hint. So we know the last Aegon key is either in Light Torvis or Dark Aegon Wastes. If it's in Light Torvis, there's a chance it's actually in Transit Tunnel East, which she can look at And technically, it might be possible to get. I know it's possible to get on vanilla, but it would potentially require some some load delay on Nintendo because of the faster load times. I expect she's going to be going into Gathering Hall to do the out of bounds there. Going to be safety saving first, of course. I'm I'm mildly surprised Dyceron didn't go for Sanctuary to get Gravity Boost and Annihilator first. But there were Sky Temple keys right there, so he's doing what we call an underwater dash, where you make a very quick movement forward. Uh, when you press R and jump on the same frame, when you're holding L and you press R and jump on the same frame, holding L and R locks your speed, and for the first frame of jumping, the game gives you normal, uh, regular, unmodified speed. So you, you're basically moving the same as you would be in the air, but the very next frame it just slows you down to underwater speed instead. So by locking your speed on that first frame, you actually move considerably faster. That's a Aaron now has that temple key. This is Transit Tunnel South, right? Yeah. Yeah, it's you kind of don't want to morph uh, next to the tunnel. I'm not too much of an expert on this, but uh, being next to tunnels typically puts you in an unable to unmorph state. Usually you can like get far away and enough from the tunnel with regular like bomb jumping to unmorph. Luckily, she was able to there. Recovered pretty quickly. So yeah, that's Sky Temple Key 2 for Aaron. Now she just needs to get back in bounds. This is this is kind of what I was talking about when I was saying I was surprised she didn't go get that gravity boost in Hazen Cliff. It's not that far out of the way. I just I'll have to ask her in the interview if she actually did get that Path of Eyes hit. It's possible it just wasn't convenient enough to get the hint. But when you're only looking for basically one item for go mode, hints are a pretty high priority. So I'd be surprised if she missed it. Didn't go to Path of Eyes. Well, I know she didn't have supers, but I just figured that she would have taken the portal in whatchamacallit to funnel her into Torvus in abandoned something site. Ruined portal place. No, that's Prime 1. Abandoned worksite is Torvus. Abandoned base, that's what it was. The room with the portal. Abandoned base is I feel like I should know that room name by now. I know it now, but uh, yeah, it's become a pretty well known room in the tournament thus far, largely because of Aaron. Aaron and Dyceron have both used the out of bounds there quite a bit to skip supers. Normally, it's used to access Torvus in the first place, but we're getting to see gravity boost here on Dyceron's end. This is going to save him considerable time in Transit Tunnel South, not having to... Well, he might go out of bounds anyway, but it's going to be considerably easier to get this guy Temple Key. Easier and faster. It's just an out-of-the-way pickup. Dyceron did get the Annihilator hint, yes. But he wants to check... he wants to find that light suit here in Upper Sanctuary as well. Power bombing that glass for later use. Potential later use. He might not wind up using it after all. I usually power bomb that glass tube on my way into the portal, but I guess it's probably smarter not to. It depends whether you want to go to Aegon right away or not. If you want to just take the elevator up to Upper Sanctuary. Dang. TCR not even going for the roll jump. Now I'm checking my SMH. There's kind of no reason to scan that post in main gyro chamber. It's just kind of a backup in case you fall. But then again, if you fall, there's another post on the bottom that you can scan instead. So now Aaron's doing the cleanup that Dyceron's already done. Hey, look, that elevator scan is coming into play now. It's a good thing he already scanned it. He doesn't have to scan it again. It is marginally faster to stay morphed and then roll across the gap onto the ring. But there is a good chance that you might just fall off. It kind of depends on speed and angle. And there's also a chance if you get too much speed, then you just run right into the electric field and then bounce off and fall down. Dyceron also doing a trick where you stand on the Resbit's shield. It serves as a nice platform. Resbits are excellent platforms. Fun fact, the cannonball does quad damage to Resbits, Normally it does 500,000 damage per frame. To Red's bits, it does 2 million damage per frame. But what's really interesting is that there are resbits in Transit Station that aren't vulnerable to Cannonball at all. They're the chosen ones. They've overcome their vulnerability to Cannonball through genetic manipulation. Dyceron's still being a bit thorough, getting checking Vault before coming to Sentinel's Path. I'm a little surprised he didn't kind of screw attack over the ledge. Well, I don't know if it still sets the terminal fall checkpoint if you don't touch the ledge. That's the thing in Corruption. Maybe it's not the case in Prem 2. Like there are hitboxes in the rooms to tell the game where your terminal fall respawn point is. It's changed in Prime 3 to just be touching the ground. Or something along those lines. But a lot of times if you see someone coming out of a portal in aerial training site and they want to go to Sentinel's Path, they're actually going to just jump into the abyss immediately. And they'll respawn right next to the Annihilator door. I guess it's not an Annihilator door. That's the other side of Sentinel's Path. But right next to the Sentinel's Path door. I'm sure Aaron knows that Dyceron can and has recently skipped Aegon keys. So that might be partly in her mind, but she also has a good feeling that Dark Aegon has the last Aegon key. So that's worth noting. Although Aaron is going for Cobalt. She wouldn't be looking for Gravity Boost because she already got the key from Transit Tunnel South, and there's no other need for Gravity Boost. Oh, was an Aegon key in Transit Tunnel South? Or not South, East? I guess if she's looking for Cobalt hints, maybe she is looking for Gravity Boost. But then if she's looking for Gravity Boost, then why would she have gotten Transit Tunnel South without it? Dyceron, still not knowing where Spider Ball is checking main gyro chamber. He's so close to it, and yet so far. This isn't an Aegon key. He's not even worried about it. He doesn't need any red temple keys whatsoever. He doesn't even care what kind it is. Erin is on her way to Torvis. With a not so happy shake on her visor. Probably because she didn't get this hint. Gravity boost is on Hazing Cliff. Alright. I think she was considering 3BSJing up onto the block to boost through, but that's a dumb trick. I thought she at least did Plaza Access. I thought she did Plaza as well. She hasn't... Oh, she hasn't done Mining Plaza, you mean? Okay, yeah. She still needs... No, you meant Taurus Plaza. Oh. Yeah, she did both of those. So Dyceron, having cleaned up most of Sanctuary, is now cleaning up Torvis. I see. That sure is a red temple key in Transit Tunnel East. So Erin's save warping back to Lower Torvis, I believe, because I think she realizes she hasn't actually gotten anything since her last save. She's checked a lot of things, so there's progress, but the fastest way to her next destination is the save warp. Back to Sanctuary we go. Dyceron getting this Sky Temple key from inbounds, interesting. May just not be feeling the out of bounds today. Potentially still shaken up from that death in Sank entrance. This is a thing I noticed. A big difference between me and Dyceron is that, like, when I'm nervous, I still go out all out, but I make a ton of mistakes. When Dyceron gets nervous, he plays safely and well, and still wins. Because he's not doing dumb plays. So fun fact, you can climb up that pillar. There are very tiny standable spots all along that pillar. It kind of spiral around the pillar, so basically anywhere you try to stand, you'll fall on one of the standable spots, very likely. And then you could stand on the very top as well. Makes climbing that room very easy if you don't need hydro chamber storage. So Aaron, I thought before Aaron was in go mode with that light suit. Turns out now Aaron is actually in go mode, knowing where the Aegon key is and now knowing where gravity boost is, unlocking that Aegon key. Aaron is in go mode. Dyceron, actually, despite having Mining Plaza and having most of, like, all but one key, is still looking for Spider Ball. The last Aegon key, if I'm not mistaken, is the red temple key in Transit Tunnel East. And of course, Dyceron being in the wrong zone, unfortunately, not knowing where Spider Ball is scouring Torvis and getting Grapple Pirates because he has the Sky Temple key from Grapple Guardian. Now has to check Plaza access in Plaza, which are kind of feels bad checks. Well, actually, he's not going to check mining Plaza or Torvis Plaza, but he is going to have to check Plaza access, which is the less dense game of the Plaza area. Although it is very akin to Life Grove Tunnel from Prime 1. Luckily, since you don't need to get the item, you don't actually have to make it up there. But, of course, this is the one time where Dyceron actually gets up on the ledge first try for an energy tank. Though I'm surprised Dyceron actually didn't get the light suit in Dynamo Works. He saw light suit there, and he just chose not to get it. He knows that feeding pit won't be in logic. Well, actually, he knows light suit is not going to lock Spider Ball because Spider Ball is required to get out of Spider Guardian's area to get that light suit, logically. You don't need Spider Ball to fight Spider Guardian or to get to Hive Dynamo Chamber? Yeah, Hive Dynamo Works. But you do need Spider Ball to get to that item in the tunnel and to leave after Spider Guardian. So we have Dyceron going to be full clearing the Pirate Labs now. Well, full clearing, I say, but there's really only 3 items he's going to be getting. He's already done half of Pirate Labs. Aaron, on the other end, is going to be fighting a Morbus. And then collecting the energy and then returning it to Light Aegon Energy Controller. I think Dyceron has the lead here. Alright, he also is going to do Sand Canyon. That's not that big a detour. But the next item he already did it. Yeah, the next item he's going to be checking is Sand Processing. He's going to get this Cannonball first. It's going to be helpful for the final bosses. To be honest, I don't think this saves time. I think this costs a bit of time, but it does make Emperor Ink 2 significantly more bearable. Or significantly more pleasant. I guess it's bearable enough if you've done enough speedruns. He hasn't done main reactor. He did, but because of the death and sank entrance, he actually has to redo this fight with Annihilator. It's just, I guess that was even faster than the powerbomb fight. Interesting. He knows that's just a missile and storage D. He's moving on to sand processing. I'm sure he thought about Spiderless Emperor-ing too and said, haha, funny joke. But yeah, he's been searching high and low for the Spider Ball, and now he is in go mode. And I'm sure he's expecting a dot done any time, but it's not coming. He's probably going to be finishing first. What's his last temple key? Oh, bioenergy protection is like right here, and then he can save warp. There is so much to talk about in the interview. All the thrills and spills. We got to see a pretty great showcase of echoes tonight. Today. It's still 5 p.m. here. There's been a bit of back and forth in the race time chat. I just noticed. Like, Diggle said GLHF, and Dyceron retorted, you too. We all know Diggle is very good at rolling echo seeds. Oh man, I missed it earlier. Apparently, Aaron had a weird bug occurring. I guess it was an audio bug. I believe we've had her audio selected the entire match, or most of the match at least. Hopefully they came through on stream. I haven't really been listening too closely, honestly. And with that, we are now back on Dyceron's audio. This was quite a shocking turn of events. That gravity boost hint in Path of Eyes came in clutch. Or rather, didn't come in clutch, unfortunately. That was, like, it didn't matter for Dyceron. He read the hint, and it was like, so, I don't need gravity boost. Well, he got it anyway, still saved time with it. So it was nice he didn't say so. I don't need it. But unfortunately, Aaron did need it and did not get the hint. That made a much bigger difference than Dyceron could well, I don't know if he had considered the possibility that Aaron would skip that hint. It's not ironic, but incidental that Dyceron not favoring Violet hints because of how unlikely they are to be useful. Actually getting a very useful hint in Path of Eyes. Dyceron unfortunately bonking, trying to screw attack up to the door. That's something a lot of players, like a lot of speedrunners, say is a pretty easy trick that they know how to do, and it feels good to get. I can never seem to get it, and unfortunately, sometimes top runners also don't always get it. I feel like that's a pretty tight window to screw attack there. Like, it's not as tight as Sync Entrance, but pretty tight. Opting for the Super Missile and 4 Dark Beam shots because he was low on ammo. Dyceron spelling things out. I'm not entirely sure. Was that Y? I think that was Y. And with that, Dyceron finishes. With an official racetime.gg time of 1:57:17. There is a lot I want to ask him. Let's get him in here. Welcome, Dyceron. GG.
Hello.
Congrats on that victory. How are you feeling?
I think overall I did okay, routing wise. I mean, there was some mess ups, and then the death, which I don't want to talk about.
Yeah, a bit bittersweet, I guess.
I was purposely pulling back because I know those things can kill you because it's killed me in like before, and then
Yeah, I saw that. That's
like,
a bit of irony there to try to be careful and it just they followed you.
It did like what, like I think I had like 60 health.
Yeah, I think they do like close to 80 damage. It depends like how close they are when they hit you, I guess.
I haven't died to them in a long time, but that's so stupid. But it steered me away from Sank, which was good, I guess. So.
Yeah. Although
actually,
there was nothing in Torfus, was there? Scott Temple case, yeah.
Well, I guess it was fine because even if I didn't die, that would still would have worked out because I would have found Annihilator.
Yeah, well, yeah, on your way, you got your hints for your go mode.
Yeah.
Well, except for Spider Ball. That held you up for a while.
Was there a hint for Spider?
There wasn't, but at some point, like, I guess third trip into Aegon or something, Aaron did go for that bioenergy production Sky Temple key and got her Spider Ball pretty quickly after.
Yeah, I was trying to narrow it down. I was dreading like vanilla because that could have happened. But I was like, actually,
Yeah.
it could have been Annihilator locked because if you came from the Dark World, you could have actually gotten to Annihilator without Spider Ball.
Yeah, that's what Aaron attempted to, and then autopiloted to. I think that's what one of our comments was referring to. She went to the DLC
Oh,
boss,
that's what I was referring to. Okay.
Caretaker Joan.
I mean, I truly thought that that death was gonna set me back. I mean, it did, but I was able to skip a lot of the checks I did at least.
Yeah, I was gonna ask that. Were you always like, I mean, not having found the Aegon keys, were you always planning to skip them, or was
I would
that
no
just kind
that
of a
that was
thing you did because of the death?
I did that to make up time, and
Okay,
I think it paid off.
very much, yeah. Unfortunately, on Erin's end, she she went to get her Sky Temple key, hence skipping supers, uh, and then didn't get the hint in Path of Eyes.
Oh,
Went into Torvis without that hint and didn't know where Gravity Boost was. She wound up getting the Annihilator hint in Lower Torvis and
yeah, I
got Annihilator
was.
and got Light Suit and then just kind of checked the Transit Tunnel East afterwards. And she's spelling out GG in
Well,
the
yeah, when
ground in Dark Samus.
I was considering wall calling for hints when I just had before I had supers, but I remembered the beam related hint, and I was like, I'm gambling on this. Hopefully it works out, and it was supers, and that was like, okay, this is perfect. So that was nice.
Yeah. Uh, Actually, that might have been what spurred Aaron on to skip Path of Eyes hint. I think she might have actually. She got her Sky Temple hints, but I think she might have doubled back to get Super Missile afterwards. And that's how she kind of missed Gravity Boost. So Gravity Boost actually was guarding a Red Temple key in Transit Tunnels East. You noticed that. It turns out it was an Aegon key.
Gosh, so that would have been, yeah.
And welcome, Aaron.
Good thing I didn't do that.
GG.
Yeah. GG.
That was a rough one. As you might have suspected, Dyceron actually skipped the Aegon Temple keys.
Yeah, I figured. But it wouldn't have mattered if I just did Spider's Treasure at the beginning, so.
Although, well, yeah, I guess you would have had to do it like mid game though, because you didn't have bombs when you first went into labs.
I had bombs and I went back to labs to get supers.
Yeah,
I
that
wanted to do
second time.
Spider's Treasure then, but then I decided not to. If I did it, I would have had Gravity, and then I wouldn't have wasted like 20 minutes like in lower Torvis without Gravity, and then another like 5 minutes trying to get the light suit just in case it was feeding pit and all that stuff. So I wasted like probably about 15 to maybe 18 minutes or something from not getting Gravity Boost at the like middle of the run. Oh well, it happens.
Mm-hmm. It was actually it was a closer race than you thought it was because unfortunately Dyceron did take a death in like after fighting the pirates in Sank entrance, he went to the tunnel and got popcorned. Those little orb dudes just like they hunted him down and one shot him. But of course, the Dark Temple, the Aegon key skip, uh, he pulled that out kind of as a result of that, and that saved him a lot more time than may have saved more time than he lost from the death. I don't know. It's kind of up in the air.
Considering where the keys were, I mean, yeah, probably. Yeah, I was putting off Spider because or Vanilla because I didn't want to do it and also didn't have Cobalt, so I was like, I'm not gonna do this. And then that would have been my last resort, but luckily it wasn't needed.
Yeah, I was also wondering, like, how tempted were you to go into Torvis anyway, knowing Aaron, knowing that the super missiles were back in Aegon?
I wasn't trying to go to Torvis, I was just trying to get my hints, but then I decided to get the
Uh,
hints and then go to Aegon to get the supers, and then using supers to enter Torvis instead from Aegon.
okay.
I didn't want to go back to Temple Grounds after getting the supers, that would have been slow.
Okay, I confused myself there. I was kind of watching both runners, and I forgot who went where, and yeah, yeah. It turns out Torvis was, uh, it had only one major item. It's actually Sync. That was the real play today. Like it had the hint for Annihilator, but interesting that it was the
I mean, I
Sanctuary
don't
Seed
really
today.
think Sank was the play either. Both of the items in Sank, you could just go in and then leave immediately. Which is what I would have done if I did Spider's Treasure. I would have just gotten Gravity and then left.
Well,
And
yeah, but there
then
was Annihilator
that
and
would have
Aerial
been fine.
Training Site. You would have had
Yeah, which
to
I would have dipped in
eventually.
from Lower Torvis and gotten and then immediately left again.
I see. Okay.
Like, that's the only reason I didn't immediately leave after Annihilator was because I knew about Light Suit, so I just said, okay, it might be Feeding Pit, and I don't want to come back, so I just decided to go check if it was the not Spider Guardian item, and then it was. So I'm like, okay, now Sank has nothing in it unless I need Gravity Boost from for the TTE key, which I didn't know was a key at the time. Then after I was done and I did like Sacrificial Chamber and all that stuff, I just peeked the thing with like the blurry screen and I saw the red key and I said, well, I had a feeling that's like the worst case scenario for me because I probably could do the secret world to leave Aegon Temple, but I don't really want to. So then I saved in Lower Torvis and decided to hunt for the gravity boost key or hint, and then also the cobalt just in case I needed it for hints. Then I ended up finding the hint in Path of Eyes, if you missed it, which was a direct hint, like item and room, which is another hint that I like if I had decided to get supers and then get hints and then enter Torvis, I would have found that hint too. So like I don't know. I thought I made really good routing decisions, but then like the worst case scenario ended up ruining it for me, basically.
Yeah, unfortunately, like the only hint you had before going to your hints, your Sky Temple hints, was just it was a beam related upgrade, right? And you didn't really
I didn't have Dark
have a
Visor when I was there. I wasn't going to check
exactly.
that unless I had to.
So you would have had to go all the way to the meeting grounds to get that hint to know it was there to actually bother checking it in the first place. Kind of a catch-22, I suppose.
I mean, I was feeling really good when I narrowed down bombs in Wind Chamber Gateway. Like I was feeling pretty good, but I made good routing decisions, like going back for the space jump and then deciding on front of labs instead of back of labs because I was not banking on Vanilla Dark Beam. And then I found the Amber, and then I don't remember what Amber led to. Maybe nothing.
It was a dark suit.
Dark suit, right? Yeah, and I was like, okay, this is good. And then
Yeah,
it
especially
led
with
to the
no
Dark
E-tanks.
Visor. Yeah, no E-tanks, and then it led to the Dark Visor, and then that led to the Amber led to the bombs hint too. I think it was right before Dark Suit, and I was like, okay, I'm like it could be Tall or Dead with power bombs, which would be funny, which is why I checked that first, and then I'm like, okay, it's probably Gateway. I just went to Gateway.
I was disappointed at Halvan or Dead. Had the perfect opportunity, didn't pull through.
Yeah, it didn't pull through, but yeah. After bombs, I decided I'm gonna go like save in the save station and warp back to start to check what the item under the save station was, and it was emerald. So I'm like, okay, cool, that's just convenient. Then I decided to go wall crawl hints, read the hint about supers and battleground, and then I'm like, okay, I'm gonna miss out on the Path of Eyes hint if I check hints and then go to Aegon and then go to Torvis from Aegon, but like I just banked on it not being a useful hint. And that all ended up biting me too. Because if I knew it was Gravity Boost, I would have just immediately checked the Transit Tunnel East item to see if it was a key, and then grabbed it on my way to Annihilator Beam. And that would have also been fine for me. Like I think I still would have won.
So you didn't get Emerald until later?
I didn't get Emerald until right after bombs.
Yeah, I got
Around-
Emerald like immediately. I just decided to bank on that early on, and
I didn't. I got the Sky Temple key in GFMC, and then I went backwards to Aegon.
honestly, I'm not shocked to see it there anymore because it's always there. I mean, initially
It
I thought it
seems
was
to be.
I thought it was in Temple Assembly side initially when a quick glance, but that wasn't it.
Oh, okay.
And I only ever.
You were struggling with that jump.
This is my second loss in this tournament, and both of them had Dark Suit and Sand Cash. So
That's a curse, I guess.
yeah, thanks.
Oh,
It's a surprisingly unrelated curse, I guess.
But yeah, like I said, I would have been fine if I had just done Spider's Treasure. Then my route would have like actually worked like perfectly. Like I would have been clean, and I wouldn't have had to like do any backtracking or anything like that. It would have gone exactly how I pretty much wanted it to. So I just
Hmm.
I didn't do it because I wanted to go fast, and I paid the price.
Yeah, especially like when you know who you're up against. Like the top 8 is pretty killer, and sometimes you got to cut corners just to not lose more time, and then you lose time that way. Ironically, it's so interesting. Like everyone has been routing differently. Personally, I put a lot of stock into Torvis. I would have gone into Torvis as soon as I could, and I guess everyone would have a completely different routing through every seed.
Considering most seeds, I feel like of this tournament, at least the ones that I've played, like Dark Torvis set was like loaded with stuff. And this time it wasn't.
Yeah. Any other? Although Aaron, you noticed some audio bug later on. I think we had your audio for that. But I didn't have my volume
The
turned up.
Amorbus boss theme didn't play.
Oh, weird.
Oh, yeah, that can happen with bosses. Grapple Guardian, it happens a bunch too.
That's unfortunate.
I've never even heard of that like ever before. So when I started the fight, I thought like Amorbus like wasn't there or something. I'm like, and then I saw it crawling out of the ground, so I was fine.
Yeah, this game can have issues with audio.
Yeah, I don't know.
Speaking of Morbus related bugs, we had a nice little chuckle at the Jump Guardian fight on Dyceron's end after doing a Morbus and collecting the energy. There were a couple of imposters.
I was trying to find which one was real.
A couple of them. I don't understand.
There are warrior ing that spawn in Judgment Pit after you collect the energy.
Right.
So
Right.
he had those going on while
Yeah.
fighting Jump.
Did you touch the trigger by accident,
For
or did
what?
you not do a Morbus at the end?
No, I did Morbus immediately after I
Oh
died.
my god.
Yeah, because I needed to make up time, and that definitely helped out. I think.
That was his third Sky Temple key in Mining Plaza.
I was hoping Morbus would have had something good, but since it was required anyway, it didn't matter.
Jeez. I think logically in this seed, every single item was required except for grapple, by the way. So that's the
Yes.
thing.
Yeah.
Yep. So, Captain, if you want to mark Spider Guardian, that does count. Light suit is required logically on these settings.
Yep. So that's a Morbus, that's Spider Guardian.
Grapple Guardian,
He's trekking Grapple Guardian, right?
I think. I actually don't know.
That was an interesting seed, to say the least. Any other final thoughts before we wrap this up?
Not really.
No.
All right. Well, be sure everyone to follow our runners. These are some amazing players, and they're only getting better from here on out. So keep tuned in to their progress. We got other matches coming throughout the week. We got, I believe, is it Gollop versus Inner Slice or Inner Slice versus Lokir? I should know this. I should have had this pulled up already. But yeah, we got a couple of matches, one tomorrow and one on Friday. So be on the lookout for those.
Inner Slicing Gollop. Looks like.
Okay, I thought so. Right, and Bellator versus, I think, Lokir. So for all our racers, I would like to thank, what is it, Bright Beginner and JoJo were tracking today, I believe. Be sure to follow them and give them support. I've been Jagger G, and thank you very much for watching. And we'll see you in the next mission.